Hey guys, it's Rod at the Dragon Wing Den. This week's D&D Attack Wing game is a 200-point free play. Me and Jay are both going to build pretty much whatever we want and smash them against each other, see how it goes. In a change from what I usually do, I'm recording this well before the game actually happens. I thought I might go ahead and talk about my list before we play the game and tell you how I think it's going to do or what I think my strategy is going to be, and might be fun to see how that matches or doesn't match with what actually happens in the game. So let's go ahead and look at my list. So here's my list. I've got some new tricks, but I've also got some old standards. I started out with Bellatorus, the Pegasus, who I haven't played yet. I gave her the Cleric Rider, Aurelia, who is going to give her an extra Divine slot and give her the ability to concentrate. And also, when you concentrate, you can choose to have Aurelia do a divine spell as a free action, put 3 time tokens on her. When you do that, the spell I chose was Prayer. It's an action to do extra attack die and extra defense die, which by itself is not great. I want to see if, as a free action, it works a little better. I've also given Bellatorus Cruelty, not something you expect from a Pegasus, but they can get mean if you push them. Seriously, Cruelty lets you ignore 1 armor token on 1 melee attack you make during the turn, and that's going to be helpful for a creature like Bellatorus with no real penetrating options. She's also got Barding for some armor, 2 points of armor, and Deep Red Ironstone is going to give her an extra defense die all the time. She can take the Deep Red Ironstone because she has a rider, Aurelia, and with Deep Red Ironstone and Prayer, she could potentially have up to 5 defense dice, even 6 if she's attacked at range 4. Next, we've got Anchoram, the Stone Giant Elder, playing a very high-priced support role here. He's got Battle Cry. That's going to help out all my other attackers. They're all lower level than he is. I've got Slammed, which is a debuff on his rock throw. If he hits you with his rock and does damage, he can knock all your concentrate and target tokens off you. His attack value is mediocre, so it is a little hard to get that off. Normally I would do something like Monstrous Aim to try to help him out, but in this build I'm not really prioritizing getting that slammed off. However, I did give him the Shatter spell, which is a spell I haven't tried out yet, but I'm kind of excited about. It's an attack, spend a target token. It's range 4, and you flip one of the target's armor tokens face down. It disables Shatter, doesn't discard it, so you can do it again. And I think it, again, with creatures like Bellatorus and with this Ballista I've also got here, that's going to help a lot pushing damage through. And it could help that slammed, could help Anchoram damage with his rock to get that slammed off. I also put an arrow catching shield on Anchoram to give him a few defense dice against common threats he may be facing. I had multiple options for that. I kind of like arrow catching shield, just thought I'd see how it works on him. And after that, of course, like I said, I've got Dwarven Ballista, a pretty standard, the gold standard for cheap threats in the game. Got the Dwarven Precision, which you can disable to convert eyeballs to crits instead of hits on a concentrate. And I've got Precise Shot, which is going to cancel out the defensive bonus for range 4. I had the points to spare. I could have taken something like Skilled Machinist to give the Ballista some repair capability, but I usually find, the Ballista is a pretty tempting target and it's pretty easy to destroy. Usually it gets focus fired down in 1 turn, so I'm just not confident that I would see that healing be of any use. And finishing off the list, I've got Sivart, the Ancient Brass Dragon, adding some dragon power to the list. He's back from last game. He's got his Flame Breath, Sleep Breath. Didn't use that last time, hoping to use that this time. It's a little less debilitating than Paralysis, but a little easier to use. I think you don't have to spend a token to use it, and it lasts 1 turn longer. He's got Legendary Resistance to flip any bad crits face down, one-time discard. Close quarters to give him some extra attacks in melee, and Battle Cry will help out close quarters as well. And he's got Confusion, the sort of control spell that I've used in Game 3. Want to give it another try, and that it should be pretty good on Seavart because it's an action, and he can do it, and he can use his special ability, take an exhaustion token, do another action to increase his attack. So he's sort of debuffing his opponent and helping himself in the same turn. Hopefully that's how it'll work. We'll find out. And we've played the game now, and here is Jay's list that I played against. He went in a different direction than he has been in the past, taking a lot of generic creatures with really aggressive attacking capabilities, and not really so much unique creatures that are fully stacked with upgrades. His only unique is Lord Maximilian, the Wraith, with Malevolent Will, which is an action that lets him convert hits into crits when he does it, and Life Drain, which lets him, when he does damage to a foe, he can either flip one of his face-up cards, damage cards face down, or he can remove a face-down damage card. That, along with all his other abilities, makes him really, really hard to get off the table. Next, we've got a standard adult red dragon with Fire Breath. That's what you want him for. And Dwarven Ballista with Artillery Master. Lets him, when he spends a target token, he can re-roll the dice twice. And 2 Hyraka Sphinx Maulers, the generic Hyraka Sphinx with the Pounce and Rake upgrades. Now, of course, Jay saw me use these Sphinxes against him with all of these huge multi-attack capabilities, and it looks like he's going to give it a try against me. So let's see how the game goes. And here goes the game. So first is the Ballista, forward 2. That is a red move for a Ballista, so he'll take an exhaustion token. It's they are slow but effective attackers. Jay's Ballista will move forward 1. No exhaustion token. It's a target token, but we're gonna realize he can't actually measure for that token. He's got a range 4. Technically, we should have checked with the ruler anyway, but that's all right. And Jay's doing he's just doing all his creatures' moves, and then he's going to put actions on them. That's a reasonable shortcut. We do that sometimes just to get through these early turns efficiently. I should say Jay does it that way sometimes. That's a concentration on the Ballista is what he decided to do instead. I'm kind of a fuss budget, and I always do it in the official order. So yeah, dodges on everything else. I'm never really worried about the Ballista having an exhaustion token on turn 1. I mean, it's usually he's not going to have a target, and he's just going to do a green maneuver on the second turn anyway. They just sort of poke forward and then shoot at whatever's in their field of fire. Seavart's going forward 5. I decided to go pretty aggressive, hoping to catch some guys in an early sleep breath or flame breath, and I'm targeting to check to see what range that is, and it's going to be range 3, so that's gonna look good for sleep breath. Of course, what looks bad for sleep breath, and I haven't realized this quite yet, is that both of these creatures have a dodge token on them and 1 defense die, exhausting Sievert to throw another action on him. Going to throw a concentrate on him just to maximize my options. But as I was saying, these creatures have dodge tokens and 1 dodge die each, so they've got a pretty good chance of getting out of a sleep breath. Moving the tokens around. I got sort of after last game where there was a couple of instances where we pop the tokens down where the camera couldn't see them because they were behind the dragon's wings or whatever. I got kind of fussy about these tokens this game, so you'll see me fussing around with them a lot, trying to make sure they're on camera. Now that I see the game, I mean, it's obviously it's not quite as, maybe overdid it, but I guess it's good to get into a good habit. Anyway, here comes the Pegasus with a 4 forward. I think I'm going to have him take a dodge token. Maybe I might have been thinking that this dragon was had flame breath instead of fire breath, but anyway. And the giant's going to come forward. That's a 3 forward. He's going to measure for a target. Yeah, well, I'm putting the token, and now I'm measuring. Pretty confident. Measure for a target to the Sphinx. He's within range 4, so I've got that target token. And now I'm going to think about using the target token to shatter, do shatter on that Sphinx. It's not a great target, but I decided to go ahead and do it. I think I just got a little overexcited about using the shatter. Maybe was worried about the stone giant dying before he got a chance to do it. And now I'm going to move on to, well, Lord Max is not going to have an attack. He's way out there, but I'm going to move on to Sivert and think about doing this sleep breath. And of course, I'm now realizing what I'm firing into with all of these dodges on the other side of the table. But I'm going to go ahead and ultimately decide to sleep breath anyway. And we're going to skip a little agonizing and go straight to the die rolls, rolling on the dragon. That's 1 hit. We're going to try to get another hit. Didn't get it, though. He's going to be able to just pull the dodge token on that, but he's going to roll the defense die anyway. There's nothing really that could have hit him, but pull the dodge token. 2 hits on the Sphinx. He needs a dodge result on the die roll. Doesn't get it. So he's going to gently drift off to sleep. Note that unlike paralysis, you don't crash to the ground and have to take damage. You just land gently. So that's it's a little easier to do than paralysis breath, but for that reason, it's also a little less costly. You don't have to spend a token. So I think I'm pointing out that it's down to the red dragon since there's no other attacks. Oh, the red dragon decided. Okay, red dragon decided not to attack. Ballista's measuring to Sivart, but has no range. Still not quite enough range there. We had to think about that one. But we're gonna go on to round 2 here. You might notice our little yellow round marker at the bottom of the screen there. That was mainly to help us out, but we'll see if it comes in handy. Jay's Ballista going first this turn because this turn is my initiative, and he's going to. I think that sweep was technically a little beyond the bounds, but he took a target token. Anyway, later in the game, we're gonna miss a turn on this turn counter. It's gonna be wrong anyway, so I don't know. My Ballista's moving 1 forward and clearing the exhaustion token and taking a concentrate. As I mentioned, it's kind of a duel of the Ballista philosophies. He's got the target with Artillery Master. I've got the concentrate with Dwarven Precision. Both valid strategies. As you know from my last game, I've pretty much gotten fully on board with concentrating. Dragon's coming forward a little bit. He's going to target, and swoop. Just in case I land to dodge out of his way. He does clearly have range to one of these creatures. Sphinx coming in, making a hard turn. And I believe we're going to see a charge token. He's going to be trying to anticipate one of my creatures, or multiple of my creatures, coming into this little pocket in lower center screen. And he wants to be ready to get off a bunch of attacks on something with that Sphinx. His other Sphinx is asleep, so he's just dozing peacefully. And Sivir. I'm going to come in planning to do some serious biting and clawing on this red dragon. So we cleared the exhaustion with that one maneuver, and we're going to swoop, just in case. Not really necessary. It's a good habit to get into. And concentrate. And am I going to, yeah, I'm going to take the exhaustion token. And what did I decide? Oh, right, confusion. So my other action is confusion to reduce this red dragon's primary weapon value to 3, because I know he's going to breathe fire on me. And Pegasus coming in. It's going to bump right there, but that's getting him within... well, he's got a range 2 on his hoof trampling. Just going to decide on an action real quick. Not mistaken. Any day now. Yeah, no, concentrate. Yeah, I'm going to concentrate and use the cleric's free action to do the prayer. Divine spell. There we go, putting time tokens down and putting that prayer token out. I had to explain what all my stuff did to Jay. I don't think he's seen me play hardly any of this except for Seavard. And the Pegasus is pretty new to both of us. He's played it once, I've played it once now. Here comes Lord Max. 2 hard turn. He'll get into the fight eventually. I said, and he's using his action to do an extra 1 maneuver, so he's going to speed up his move in. That's real handy on him. I set up all my guys on the side opposite to Lord Max, basically, as it ended up, just because I needed this stone giant to be within range of everyone, so he could battle cry, which he's going to do now. And he's measuring to the Pegasus to make sure the Pegasus is in range. I should have also measured to the Ballista, since I'm pretty sure that's range 2, but I, for some reason, just completely overlooked it. So a bit of a missed opportunity. Would have been nice to have that extra attack die on the Ballista. And I believe we're rolling Stone Giant through a rock at the Ballista, maybe? I don't know. All I got was an eyeball, so... mistaken, we're going down to... No, we're doing the Pegasus, it looks like. I'm counting up my dice. 3 dice plus prayer plus battle cry. Roll this fistful of dice. And I believe we got hit, and crit. Defense die, got nothing. Armor, blocking that. That's right, I used cruelty to ignore one of his armor tokens. And the crit, I believe we'll show it to the camera, yeah. Fatigued, so he's going to take an exhaustion token. But that was a pretty devastating attack from the Pegasus. That's pretty much what I wanted to get out of him, really. Seabird is gonna, his attack is gonna kind of feel like an afterthought, really. But he's gonna bite. So here comes the bite. 6 dice, 5 dice plus battle cry, and it looks like a lot of hits there. I believe that's. What am I doing? Oh yeah, it's like 3 hits and 2 eyeballs. No, it was 3. Was it 3 crits? There's no point in spending the concentrate tokens because he is dead. But there's nothing else I can do with the concentrate token. Sort of a weird situation. Oh, that's right. No, it's just 3 hits. I think he just took the 1 hit. And I'm just rolling my close quarters attacks to try to score crits. I remember what happened now. I'm just rolling my close quarters attacks to try to score crits on him. And that, I believe, is a panicked. And then I'm going to get 2 more crits on him. And it's going to be you're going through crippled and debilitated. So this ended up being an interesting topic of discussion, since the Red Dragon has confusion on him, which reduces his primary weapon value to 3, and he's also got debilitated on him, which lowers his primary weapon value by 1. The way we resolved it, and the way I think is correct, but I'm not 100% sure, is when Jay makes his attack, he's the active player, so he will get to choose what order debilitated and confusion apply, so he can reduce his damage, reduce his weapon value from 5 to 4 with debilitated, and then reduce it to 3 with confusion, so he can take the least problematic effect. But the panicked crit is -1 attack die, so that is going to happen after primary weapon value is calculated. So that is going to end up taking the dragon down to 2 dice. But the dragon is not resolving yet. The Sphinx, the one Sphinx who is awake, is going to resolve his attacks first. So Jay's coming over here to the side, and he's going to charge. Looks like he's going to bump the ballista. Or, yeah, sliding him forward a little. Yeah, bump. I guess I had thought that he would be able to fit in that little pocket, but I guess not. And he's within range 1 of the stone giant, so he's going to go crazy on my giant. Going to do a little arc measuring to see if the griffin is, or Sphinx is within my giant's front arc. It's pretty close, but he gave it to me. That's going to give me an extra defense die from my arrow-catching shield. 1 extra die versus melee attacks in your front arc. 2 extra dice versus range attacks. It's like hit. 2 eyeballs. Nothing, so I'm going to take 1 hit. A bunch of little attacks. There's a hit that's going to be blocked by armor. 3 hits, nothing on the defense dice. I'm going to take another damage. That's a little frustrating. 2 more attacks, blocked by armor, and blocked by armor. I still like the shield, even though it kind of fell down on me, and that I just rolled the 3 dice randomly and came up with 3 dodges, so, you know, dice are dice, right? Move on to the dragon. He is going to fire breath, but he's only getting 2 dice against each of my creatures here. Technically, it would have been cannier for me to land one of these creatures, possibly the Pegasus, since he's got a pretty good ground dial. Then he'd only get 1 fire breath attack, but I mean his attack is pretty well nerfed anyway. Let's see what. Oh, I thought there might be a possibility that you get the giant, but it doesn't even matter. The giant's on the ground anyway. I forget which he rolled against. It looks like he's rolling against the Pegasus first because I've got an enormous pile of defense dice. No, he rolled against Seabird first. Okay. I'm just itching for the chance to roll an enormous pile of damage dice. Seabart took a crit off that, and it looks like it's shattered, so he's going to lose an armor. Then we're going to get 2 hits on the roll against the Pegasus, against which I'm going to get 3 Ironstone die, Prayer die, and I'm going to remember it in just a second. Yes, another die for my special ability against ranged attacks. Big roll. And there's one for the record books. 6 dodges. I found that pretty hilarious, as you can see from the tape. Jay is miming sweeping all of his cards off the table. Don't worry, Jay. Your time is coming in this game. But that's going to be a kill for the dragon, so we're going to sweep him off the table. No, hold on. We've got the ballista attacks to resolve, so let's go ahead and see some ballista attacks here. And here we go with my ballista attacking his ballista. It's even round, so I go first. Grab some dice. And we got what? Hit, and crit. His armor is going to block that 1 die I set aside, so 2 hits, and the crit there is dazed. He cannot perform actions. And that's going to take 2 time tokens. Going to move on to his, yep, there we go. I remembered. Going to move on to his ballista. And he was thinking about going for the stone giant, but I'm going to brandish all the defense dice I'm going to be rolling if he shoots at my giant here. So he's going to change his mind and go for the dragon, if I'm not mistaken. I'll shake on those dice. Looks like he's spinning his target. It hit crit. And he's really shaking those dice. Another hit. And we're going to discuss how Artillery Master resolves with our rules consultant, Jeremy. His hand is sneaking into the frame at the top there. Namely, whether you're allowed to re-roll just one of those dice with Artillery Master, or whether you have to re-roll all of your re-rolls again. And it looks like we decided to go with, well, he just decided to take the result, I think. It's going to put 2 damage and another crit on Seabart, which looks like exhausted. That's pretty painful. Having 2 exhaustion tokens on you, especially on a creature like Seabart, who is all about getting extra actions, is really pretty tedious. Back to my ballista, moving first on round 3. I'm going to concentrate. That's what he does. And Jay's ballista. Move forward. And no action because he is dazed. Yeah, that's right. You can't do that. You're dazed. Wait a minute. Okay. It looks like we missed that. Actually, I happen to know from watching the footage earlier, we missed dazed twice in this game. So I'm actually thinking about making some custom critical effect tokens with icons on them that represent what the crit actually does, because we are just really falling down on the ball on these critical effects. Frustrating. The Griffin's just poking forward a little bit. He wouldn't. Yeah, he definitely wouldn't be able to get into that little open area just because of how his base is positioned that turn. So, oh, there now he remembered the dazed. I still think my custom tokens idea is a good one. We're gonna do Sievert, and it's just gonna do a white. A green soft one to shake one of these exhaustion tokens. He's still got the other one sitting there on him. He's going to land, and I'll clear those extraneous tokens in a minute there. Right? Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, Jay made a mistake there. He said he wanted the Pegasus. Sphinx to land, and I went ahead and gave it to him. What a swell guy I am. I'm just being facetious. I'm actually terrible. Pegasus doing a hard 3, but I'm gonna get hung up on that giant base. I'm not gonna be able to fly over all this stuff because Lord Max is in the back there jamming me. So, in fact, Jeremy is pointing out that I'm not gonna get past Sievert's base. So there's nowhere for me to settle. We're discussing exactly how this Pegasus is supposed to be lined up on this. I am, as you can see, I'm consulting the rulebook. Now that I see that, I need to look this up real quick. I'm not 100% convinced that I was not right about how this procedure works, but I'll update you later in the voiceover after I go look at that. In the meantime, that's what I did, and I'm a little worried about getting some Lord Max in the face there, since the Sphinx landing is obviously preparatory to a Lord Max flyover, in my opinion. So I'm going to try to get this Pegasus out of the line of fire there, move him over. Do a feint and put an exhaustion token on him for that. And now we'll go ahead and see what Lord Max does. And I believe I misread him. He actually came over here behind my ballista. Yeah, like that. Now for his action, Jay is going to pick any white speed 1 maneuver, which, as it happens, Lord Max has a white speed 1 turnaround on his dial, so he's going to turn around on me. This is exactly the kind of thing that makes Lord Max so powerful on the battlefield and so frustrating to fight against. If I had this to do over again, I think I would have put monstrous aim on my stone giant and set him up directly across from Lord Max, shatter Lord Max's armor, try to get that rock throw on him, just generally engage Lord Max a lot earlier to try to do an early kill on Lord Max, because if you let him go, spoiler alert, if you let him go to the late game, it just gets harder and harder to do anything about him. My giants got bumping against Jay's ballista, and he re-enabled Shatter, I believe, which was pretty optimistic under the circumstances. I'm going to just throw a rock at something. Possibly the Sphinx. I'm not going to throw it at the sleeping Sphinx because I don't want to wake him up yet. When you damage a sleeping creature, they immediately lose the sleep effect, and they could attack you back that turn. It's like a rock throw at probably the ballista. I believe I picked the ballista. Looks like hit, and that's gonna get the yeah, hit. That's gonna get the killing damage on that ballista. Sorry, just hit, I guess. Good enough. We're down to Lord Max. He's gonna attack my ballista. He is swooping. That's that token behind him there. Aha! Token policing failed there. Here comes the attack. Hit crit, I believe. And my ballista's damage cards are going off the screen. I've got so many creatures. Okay. I obviously missed the camera there, but that is dazed. I remember what the crit is. That's what happened there. 2 damage and a dazed. 2 normal damage and a dazed crit. So no actions next turn for that ballista. And here I believe I'm thinking about Seabird and trying to decide if I want to wake this Sphinx up by going close quarters on him. And we're going to go ahead and give it a shot, make those attacks with a little help from Jeremy measuring from range. Thank you, Jeremy. And I'm going to roll for the bite. That's 1 hit. Remember the Sphinx's armor is shattered. And he is asleep, so he cannot roll defense dice. But now he's waking up. Rudely awakened. And there's some 2 hits. Is that 2 hits and a crit? I believe that's 2 hits and a crit on the first claw. Let's see what he flips over there. Yeah, double damage. That is a kill on the Sphinx, but I'm going to go ahead and roll the other claw, see if I can get a stunned crit on it. 1 crit. No defense. And like magic, it happens. Stunned crit on the Sphinx. He has spent the entire game asleep and then getting cruelly awakened by death. Poor guy. And now we're going to be moving on to the alive and unstunned Sphinx, I believe. Yeah, there we go. Point at him. Who's going to unload a flurry of beaks and claws on Ankarim here. We've got the 3 defense dice again. Looks like hit, crit. And 1 dodge, so taking the crit. Armor's taking that normal damage. So what do we have? Panicked. And this is that was armor took that. Nothing, and it's like a crit. That's a dot, and then the final roll. Okay. I'm realizing here that I rolled 3 defense dice on that crit. And that was incorrect. I should have rolled 2 because I have a panicked crit on me. So now I can't roll 3 dice. I can only roll 2. And so I redid that one in Jay's favor there. And ended up pulling a double damage crit, and that's enough to kill the giant. So I'm explaining that now. And so we'll skip a bit to my ballista attack on this Sphinx. His ballista only had 1 target, which was the giant, so he just sort of skipped it. The giant's already dead. That's looks like a lot of damage on the Sphinx. He's going to get 1 defense die. Nothing, armor takes that. And 3 hits, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 3 hits. And that should be end of round. And we're going to lose 1 giant and the Sphinx. And I think I also killed that ballista. There it goes, yeah. Going in around 4, we'll change that little marker there in a minute. My ballista going backwards. Once again, it's dazed, so he can't do an action anyway. That's a good time to do an exhausting maneuver, do a red maneuver if that will help you out. In this case, I was thinking it might help me slip back so that Lord Max would come ahead of me and be in my sights. We've got the Sphinx moving in to do more dirty work with his pouncing and raking claws. And he'll go ahead and feint. I think probably hoping to get out of, catch the Pegasus in a situation where he's out of the Pegasus's arc, but the Pegasus is still in his arc. Seavart's gonna walk forward here. Still on the ground, so this is only a white maneuver. It's not going to clear that exhaustion. I didn't really feel comfortable like walking straight ahead. I felt like that was going to get me a little closer to the edge of the board than I wanted to be. Hard to say. And I took off, of course, at the end of that. Pegasus coming up here. And he is, in fact, in the Sphinx's arc. So I'm going to go ahead and take a charge token, put that out there so I can just zip out of there before he can attack me. I'm thinking about the possibility of Lord Max coming up in front of me and whether or not I really want to charge. In fact, though, yeah, doesn't make a difference. Because I would be charging after Lord Max's attack anyway. He's going to either be able to attack me or he isn't, regardless of what my whether I charge. And as we see here, he's going to do this. I believe that's a 3 bank. And then we're going to go ahead and see his action choice, which of course is to use his special ability, do another 1 maneuver, and that's going to get him within range 2 of the Pegasus. So he's going to get his attack. Curse you, Lord Max. Except when I'm playing him, obviously. Although I rarely play him. Yeah, it looks like a big roll. I think we've got, well, hit and a crit. Got 1 dodge, so I'm going to have to take that crit. Look, oh yeah, crushed. So I'm gonna roll a die. No extra damage. Flips the crit face down. And we're gonna resolve that charge. Boop. Go ahead and throw some dice at Lord Max, which I believe it's just 4 dice. Can't recall if I thought to flip cruelty or not. There we go, yeah, cruelty. So he's going to need a dodge on all of these dice. There's 1. Could have turned the eyeball if he needed another dodge. Incorporeal creatures can automatically turn 1 eyeball into a dodge result on their defense dice. Pretty aggravating. I'm resolving the ballista. I actually missed that Seavart had a tail attack on this Sphinx, but it'll be okay. Spoiler alert, my ballista is going to do the job. He's got 5 dice, and at range 4, the Sphinx is not getting an extra die because my ballista has precise shot, so that's paying off for its 1 point cost, and looks like we've got a hit, crit, and we're going to... No, I don't have any eyeballs, but And that's a guaranteed kill. We're just going to see what the crit is. It's double damage. Even more dead. So we're moving into round 5. Ballista. Go ahead and clear that exhaustion. It's also not dazed anymore, so take that off. There was a... We're going to concentrate because that's what you do. We're going to do the Pegasus next. He's going to do a 4 wing over. Come around, take an exhaustion token. Once you start jousting with Lord Max like this, it gets pretty ugly because you're having to take these exhaustion tokens to come around, and he can just come around automatically. Sievart in the air, finally clearing that exhaustion token, but he's not in a great place. I'm thinking I'm a little flummoxed about, yeah, take a dodge. I'm expecting Lord Max to come right into my blind spot there. Even if I was a little forward or a little behind, Lord Max could probably feint into my blind spot. Looks like he actually... Oh yeah, that's right. Got confused. So... pretty much what I was thinking would happen right there. He's going to do Malevolent Will as his action. He's going to be able to turn his hits into crits. And here comes the roll. It's hitting a crit, which is going to become 2 crits. I'm going to use that dodge token to dodge one of them, only taking 1 crit. It's panicked. That's not great. I'm going to try to see if I've got arc on... Yeah, we've got arc. Wasn't really necessary to check. It was pretty self-explanatory, but it looks like range 3, maybe. Hit. Hit. Crit, I believe. That's a pretty good roll against Lord Max, but of course he's got 4 defense dice. 2 dodges. There goes Armor's taking that, so he's just taking the crit. If I had shattered Lord Max's armor at the beginning of the game, he's dazed. That's always good to get on Lord Max, since his actions are a large part of his danger. Yeah, Lord Max, why are your swoop tokens always hanging around all over the place? We're going to concentrate, hoping Lord Max is going to be over here after that hard turn, the Ballista. Sphinx is going to do this little bank to clear exhaustion. Sorry, I said Pegasus, I said Sphinx, but obviously they're both Greek animals with wings, I guess. And our action is going to be a feint, hoping to catch Lord Max in this little trap here, I think. Over there. It's going to exhaust us from the feint, and I'm also going to land while I'm thinking about it. And next we're going to move on to Sievart. It's doing a hard 3, and because my Pegasus has landed, I'm going to be able to fly over him. And I have to figure out how this flyover works. That should be about right, but we're going to do some checking. And yeah, we're going to... There, Sievert's fine. That's where he's going to land. He's going to take an exhaustion token for the hard 3, and that's what's problematic about these ancient dragons late game against Lord Max is they just don't have much capability to be where you want them. Really, I should have just tried to set up for a decent, high-quality tail attack against Lord Max, getting my target and concentrate tokens with Sievert's special ability. Lord Max is dazed, so he should not be able to take this action. It's an unfortunate gameplay error. You're getting pretty punchy in this turn, I believe. He's measuring for an attack on the ballista. And that's going to be enough damage to kill the blade. He took a time token off dazed, but didn't notice that he had actually done an illegal action. That's killing damage on the ballista. And I guess I was mentally on the back foot here and just completely forgot Sievert's tail whip attack. So this is the ballista. We're going to use Dwarven Precision, turn that into a crit. So we've got 2 hits and 2 crits. Good roll against Lord Max. Very disappointing that I missed that tail whip attack, though, to be honest. But you know what? It's helpful to watch this footage because although, after I play a game, I like to think about what happened and try to remember if I did anything wrong. But I wouldn't have noticed that I missed that tail whip if I hadn't watched this footage. He's getting 3 dodges, of course. Incorporeal lets him convert an eyeball to a dodge. So he's only taking that crit. It's double damage, which gets him up to 3 damage. Of course, on Lord Max, that's not as good news as you might think. Those damage cards can melt off him pretty quickly once he starts, hitting you and life draining and dodging your attacks. You're on round 7, is that correct? I think so. Sievert's gonna coast forward, clear that exhaustion token, but take a dodge. He's coasting towards irrelevance here. Pegasus is going to pivot just to try to stay tracking Lord Max, but that's a pretty dangerous game. He's not going to lose the exhaustion token. He's going to take off. He's going to have a pivot token on him, so playing with fire there. And we'll move on to Lord Max, who I believe is gonna turn around. Not sure where he thought I was gonna be. In any case, though, he's actually gonna use his action to just come right back around. Hoping he's going to get a little sliver of an arc on the Pegasus, but he is not on camera. It may look pretty close. I mean, it was close, but not that close. It's going to take a little attack from the Pegasus. I think that's 1 crit. And 1 dodge. Moving on to round 8. Looks like here's where we forgot to flip that round marker over. So the Pegasus is going to move forward and bump, or is he just going to land right in front of Lord Max? As God is my witness, I thought that was going to bump his base. But instead, there you go. Not at all where I wanted to be. And we're going to take a concentrate, and we're going to go ahead and say a prayer. Looks like the time to do it. Sievert. Good job, useless. I am really frustrated with this dragon right now. Exhausted again. Lord Max. I'm going to take a target token. I think he revealed a 1 forward and just bumped the Pegasus. Let's take a target token. I am brandishing my fistful of defense dice. Let's see what happens. It's like a hit and a crit. We're going to use the target. 2 hits and a crit. Dodge, dodge. Concentrate. Turn that dodge. Turn that eyeball into another dodge. So we make a clean getaway. And on to round 9. Yeah, that's where we forgot. Yes, it's actually 9. Pegasus doing his 4 turnaround, taking an exhaustion token. I mean, you can see how trying to joust with Lord Max, you just end up with these. I'm gonna land to try to give Sivert a flyover, but I'm not sure really what I was hoping to accomplish with that. But as I was saying, because you have to take exhaustion tokens and Max doesn't, you end up getting low quality attacks, he ends up getting high quality attacks. Flyover seems like a little desperate. Maybe I was hoping Lord Max would end up in my tail arc and maybe have to fade out of it. But he's not. He's pretty well positioned, exactly where he wants to be. I threw a swoop on there last minute. Swoop and a dodge is my action. Good time to dodge, but not going to do much. I don't know. Two hits. And we'll dodge 1. Yeah, it's not too bad. Oh, target. Yeah, he's spending the target token. Alright. Dodge 1 out of 3 hits, and I think that's the end of Sivert. 1 out of 4 hits, I should say. There he goes. Pegasus, in a bank. I think I was, fell off his little stand. I was basically figuring I needed to get rid of the exhaustion, and it was basically just a mind game of trying to guess which way he was going to break and hope I was breaking the opposite way so he couldn't get a hit on me. He's moving forward. But he's just going to turn around. So irritating. I've got a dodge token on me. Three hits. Blank. Okay. Taking 2 damage. He's pulling a damage card off. He pulled another one off for Sivart earlier. So my Pegasus has 1 life left. Lord Max has 3 life left. And here we go. Turning around. Basically, the end is nigh. I'm just trying to face it with dignity. Lord Max coming in. Yeah, do the action 1 forward to make sure he's within range 2. And then he's going to take the attack. And it looks like a hit crit. I need to dodge all 3 of these, but dodge 2. No, 1 maybe? Anyway, not enough. And I guess a formality, we're going to make my Pegasus attack roll, but that's not enough to kill him in any case, so that's the game.